Well, hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of What's the Word? Joining me on the couches, armchairs, this week we've got Shane Mann from Responses, Ladbrokes, David Jennings in midfield there, and Johnny Wood beside me as well. How are you guys, all right?
All good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to the weekend's action, of course, the Ryder Cup as well. It's got me thinking. Good question. It's not. Right, if you had like a horse racing Ryder Cup, who would definitely be on your Team Europe? Come on, Shane, we'll start with you.
So the trainer would have been the late great Oliver Brady. I think he would have been the Ian Poulter in the team there to G everyone up.
Get the crowd going.
Yeah,
It's not bad shape,
absolutely.
to be fair.
And then I don't know, it's Ruby Walsh maybe, just straightforward, gets the job done on the big occasion. And yeah, that'd be my two. Yeah.
What about you, Jenny? You're actually not a bad golfer, you know?
Not a bad golfer at all.
Down to 11 now. I would pair the Shark Hanlon and Johnny Murtagh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'd love it if it was in like Florida or somewhere. Just see
Yeah,
what
that would affect their skin, surely.
Yeah,
though.
just to see what real proper Irish sporting legends can do in America.
in the sun.
I'd say the Shark can drive at a fair distance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What about
You've
you?
thought about this now, Johnny, so you have a good answer.
Well, yeah.
Ours were spontaneous.
No, I'm going to just give I'm going to give Ryan Moore and Pat Smullen, you know, because they're hardy and they represent our great European ethos. And then it's got to be Johnny Velasquez, hasn't it? And why not go in with Jerry Bailey maybe for a bit of
on the state side.
Yeah, Jerry Bailey was a good rider back in the day, but Johnny Velasquez is a jockey that was always my cousin's favourite jockey in Belmont. Would have ridden for Todd Pletcher down the years and still going strong, still riding at. He's probably about 50 odd now.
Tipping into shops late on a Sunday night to watch Belmont, like.
What?
Tipping into the shops late on a Sunday night watching Belmont.
Well, no, because it's daytime over there, so it's obviously he brings me to the track all the time. Yeah, Belmont is a great track.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about betting shops and you're watching.
Yeah, well, it's complex over there, although it's all changing now, obviously. But Belmont's a great place to go racing, actually. I don't know if you ever Saratoga as well. The States is like you've Aqueduct as well, very near JFK. So you're very close to a lot of racetracks once you get to New York.
You get around, don't you?
Good stuff, Johnny.
And you meet like all manner of characters.
Get on to the racing quick. We'll be here till Monday.
I'm just thinking like Die Hard at Aqueduct. Anyway, let's move on to the action from Newmarket. Brilliant 2 hours at Newmarket. From 1:50 to 3:40, you got Royal Lodge, Cheveley Park, Middle Park, Cambridgeshire. Shouldn't you just go racing for 2 hours there on Saturday? We'll start at the Royal Lodge. I'm assuming Beatboxer tops the market, Shane.
9-4 market leader Tom, 130 then Arthur Kitt, 5-1 Kadar Cape of good hope in there, 11-2 Kuwait Currency 7s, it's 14 spar.
Some absolutely brilliant winners this over the years. Jenna, who do you fancy this?
You didn't mention mine there. Go through that betting list again.
We are 14 spar. So you've got Beatboxer, Arthur Kitt, Kadar Cape of good hope, Kuwait Currency.
The one I like is Kadar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like Kadar. I interviewed Carl Burke for the big read that's in the Racing Post on Sunday and just loves the horse. Thinks he could be a 2,000 guineas horse. But even forgetting that, even if he had told me nothing, I just loved the performance at Haydock. Clifford Lee rode him that day. He started 5-2 against a horse that had won a Newmarket maiden, had posted an RPR of 87, and he started 5-2. So that tells you what they thought of him. He'd obviously been working really well. The gap didn't open. It only opened about a furlong out, and he showed a lovely turn of foot. He's got a giant stride, and there's a bit of substance to the form because the horse he beat obviously won a Newmarket maiden. The 5th horse home, who was beaten 6 lengths, was Hammered. Absolutely bolted up in the nursery at Redcar earlier on this week off of Market 73. The 6th horse home, who was beaten even further, was second in the nursery at Newcastle. James Doyle takes over from Clifford Lee. I think this Kadar could be pretty useful, and he's actually my best bet of the entire day.
Oh, right, okay. What about you, Johnny? What do you make of the
I'm looking forward to that piece now. Carl Burke made a good impression.
Absolute gentleman. Now, I mean, possibly one of the nicest people I've ever interviewed.
Okay.
Who's up there with him in that regard?
Oh, there's a lot, yeah. No, there's a lot.
You love people, though.
Yeah, Patrick Prendergast, lovely man.
Great man.
Lovely man, yeah.
I'm going to go with Cape of Good Hope here. He's run behind quarter, doesn't look too bad now. I think Aidan O'Brien's horses are just going to click later on in the season because they had that mid-season blip. He's a brother to Highland Reel. He's 3 Galileos running the big race in Naas on Sunday, and they're all kind of coming out, I suppose, late in the season when they should be improving. But there was a great stat in the spotlight for not this race now, but the other 2-year-old race this weekend. 2 from 46 with first time out colts in the 2-year-old division this year. 2 from 46, and that includes a lot of non-Galileos as well.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible stat, really. He used to win the first race of the season at the Curragh all the time, and now he rarely has a runner. But his way of, it just shows how a trainer can change. 2 from 46, and a lot of them would have been favourites.
I'm just trying to think who the other one was. Fairyland is one of them.
So, Fairyland and
So
the
perfect
10
is a
Sovereigns.
Philly,
10 Sovereigns.
10 Sovereigns, yeah. Right, let's move on to the Cheveley Park Group 1 action coming at 2:25. And Pretty Pollyanna has done a little wrong since she's top of the market.
Yeah,
Fairyland
warm
is in
order.
the cold, by the way, so
sorry,
obviously
cold.
that doesn't count. So who's the other one? We have to get that before the end of the show.
10 sovereigns.
Who's the other cold?
Leave
Because
it.
Sergei Prokofiev was beaten on debut.
By Skitter Scatter.
Still can't. Anyway.
Warm order, Tom, as you mentioned, Pretty Pollyanna 11 to 8. Signora Cabello is in there at 9 to 2. Fairyland, the aforementioned 7 to 1, along with Lady K, also 7 to 1. 8 to 1, so perfect. We got 14s bar the
Horse that
rest.
won the other day in Nace.
The Frankel.
American colours.
The Frankel, yeah.
What's it called?
Do you remember?
Old Glory.
Old Glory, yeah.
Good shout, you know.
Well done, Jenna. Right, let's move on to the Cheveley Park.
A nice segue to my fancy here, because I fancy a filly who won first time out, which is very rare. So Perfect is completely the forgotten horse of the race.
I
You
agree.
just go through her form. She won at Navan on debut, which we've said is a rare feat for a newcomer from Ballydoyle. She was caught in a pocket next time behind Surveillance at Naas, got no run at all, forget about it. She flew home, and I thought was the moral winner of the Queen Mary, which obviously had Signora Cabello. She beat Skitter Scatter next time. She beat Skitter Scatter, which is very hard to do. Lethal Promise has since franked the form. That was in the Grange Con. Lethal Promise was back and forth that day. She came back from a 6 weeks absence to chase home Advertise in the Phoenix Stake against the boys. And you know what? I just go through her form, and I just think we haven't even seen the best of her yet. Aidan O'Brien has won the last 2 runnings of this, but he won it in 2016 with Brave Anna. Brave Anna was a 25 to 1 shot, supposedly the second string. And I know that Fairyland looks the first string, but I think So Perfect is a better
8 to
filly
1.
than Fairyland. I think So Perfect could go off about 4s or 5s.
Yeah, fair enough. Johnny, what about you?
Yeah, I think she's a huge chance, you know, and her run behind Advertise is very solid form. I know the favourite ran a shocker on the day, and Aidan's horse were a bit in and out, but she was backed, and she ran a very, very solid race, and what was a hot race. I think she'll run a big race. Probably with the favourite. I just think her French run beating the Colts is the best bit of form. She looks very, very smart and straightforward as well. But I'd probably have a saver on So Perfect. Pretty Pollyanna does look the best of them, though, in fairness.
You give Lady Kai any sort of squeak?
A squeak. I do think, though, you're looking at about, you know, Michael Bell. Be nice for him to have a nice filly again. Like, since Sariska, what has he had?
And just
Big
a word
orange.
on Michael Bell, if you do fancy Pretty Pollyanna. Of his last 16 runners, 4 have won, 4 were second, and 4 were third. So his team are in top form. They're just starting to hit top form now.
It'd be great for Sheila Lavery as well. She'd be one of the more popular characters in Irish racing.
Yeah.
If Lady Kaya could. She's some nice 2-year-olds at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the Middle Park then. 6 furlongs ahead of him for that 3 o'clock, the Judgment Middle Park. 10 sovereigns, I assume. Odds on here.
Odds on, Tom, 8 to 13, the last showing. Josh is in there, 4 to 1. Sergei Prokofiev, 7 to 1. Amaratiana, 8 to 1. It's 20 to 1 bar the rest.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, 2 horse race for me. I think 10 sovereigns will probably win. Like what he's done on the clock, especially in the closing furlong at the Curragh last time, was incredible. I'd say he's very good. I spoke to Aidan about him, and he said, look, earlier on this spring we thought the world of him, had a setback. That's why we didn't see him for so long. I think he's a very good horse. I do think Sergei Prokofiev is probably the forgotten horse of the race, and I do think he'll chase him home. Like, again, going back to the Ballydoyle second string, US Navy Flag won this race last year when Sioux Nation was the first string, and he did the same with Crusade in 2011 when I think Reply was the first string. So it has a habit of winning it with the least fancied runner. He was obviously very sick after the Coventry, and I thought in the Coventry when he was second or third to Calix, like, he was weaving in and out, and I thought it was an incredible run. If you forget the last run, when he was obviously sick because he drifted out, as Johnny said, to 7 to 4.
Yeah.
Now maybe he hasn't progressed, and maybe he's not the same horse that they thought he was, but he's a big price here, and I think he's the only realistic danger to 10 sovereigns. I think it'll be a Ballydoyle 1-2.
What about you, Johnny?
I pretty much agree with exactly everything he said there. What I love about 10 Sovereigns is the way he finishes his races. He's just this massive stride when he goes into overdrive. He gets a bit of a squeeze, and you kind of momentarily think this lad might be in trouble, and next thing he's 2 or 3 lengths clear.
Puts distance between them
Yeah,
very quickly.
and you know, if, as a miler next year, how exciting could he be? But I just think I think he'll say. I think just the way he finishes the race, I think he will. And it's hard to know what the known in ever horse is like, because obviously Scat Daddy is he's more of a speed influence, even though he gets the odd 1.5 horse. But he has to be the bet at the prices, Sergei Prokofiev. You know, he's a tongue tied on for the first time. I thought he was hugely exciting earlier in the season. Forget about the run the last day. I know it's easy to say that, but you got to just say that he's better than that. His Coventry run was rock solid. It wasn't an ideal trip for him that day. You know, he's 8 to 1 or whatever. The other lad's going to be about 4 to 6, and you're getting your dead 8 until the inevitable non-runner. But I like him each way. I just think he is forgotten about, and if he were the main O'Brien horse here, what price would he be? Like, you know,
Even on that existing form, yeah. But 10 off is a super looking horse. But what about the Cambridgeshire then upcoming at 340? What, 9 double figures the field? Here's proper handicap.
Absolutely, Tom. Just a word beforehand as well. 7 places each way from shops opening Saturday morning. So if you're getting stuck in each way, 3 extra places available on offer in our Ladbroke shops. Currently the betting as it stands, as you mentioned, Cuff Avs each of 3. Alfaris, Wissahickon, I think it's pronounced, and Kinran all at 9-1. Danceterry 11-1. Kenya in there at 12-1. 14-1 UAE Prince. 14-1 very talented. 16 Bar very open renewal, as is always the case.
You going to do 1 or 2 selections of this?
7 places, Johnny. Surely we'll get something placed.
Something in there, sure.
I remember in my early days in doing spotlights to Racing Post, I was doing a Curra race and I said this can safely be narrowed down to 4, right? None of them finished in the first 4. And I never did that again. And this could.
We're not giving you 7 shots at this. Anyway,
you could tip 7 here with none of them placed, like.
I think Wisconsin is interesting because obviously it's on a roll, it's improving. But I thought I had the winner of this. I was convinced I had the winner of this in May when Sharjah Bridge chased home Oasis Charm. I watched the race in Guineas Weekend on the Sunday and I said, there we go, there's your Cambridgeshire winner. That was back in May. Here he is in the race. He's off 106, which I thought at the time, if he got in under 110, that he'd be the most likely winner. Andrea Atzeni has deserted him, but Sylvester de Souza takes over. Like, they were miles clear, third time lucky that day. You can forget the run at Royal Ascot. He was caught 3 right wide the whole way. Ran last time at York. He traded at 1.26 and running. Was keen the whole way, never settled. He just screams to me like he's a group horse. He's running a handicap of 106. He's going to get a fast pace, so he should settle better. And how long ago was May? I've been waiting 4 months for this.
16-1.
6 months for this.
16-1. Okay.
Sharjah Bridge for me.
Fair enough. Johnny?
Well, UAE Prince might be the group horse, but he's running off 99, and even though he's 5, he's just had his
triplets though, isn't he?
I don't know. I nearly prefer this trip to the 1.5 mile, like, and if you're going to get, what are we here, like 30 runners, this is going to be a right go gallop. Like, he's a fine record, fresh. He's a very well bred horse, and it's interesting that Zaney is riding him. And Roger Varian has a very strong hand this race. I think if he does get into a nice rhythm, he has massive stamina, and you will need it. This is going to take a hell of a lot of getting, like, because they could go a 7 furlong pace, and he will be held up. I like his claims, and he looks reasonably well handicapped relative to the best of his form. Alfaris as well, you'd have to give a big chance to Dance the Terrier around at the Curra.
Alfaris well supported all week.
Yeah, really strong traveller. Dance the Terrier didn't run badly at the Curra. I think it was the last race of Irish Champions weekend.
Unlucky,
one of 2 horses. I kind of narrowed that race down to 2, and both of them were nowhere. But the other one, Jessica Harrington's horse, won since. Basically won well. I think that was a hot handicap. It was such a messy race that I was really calm to Jessica Harrington's horses. Had a great chance. Finished nowhere. But Dance Terrier didn't do badly in the circumstances. A 3-year-old, as is Kenya. And Kenya was one of these horses that we expected so much of. He really has turned the corner. And
massive price the last day, wasn't
it?
Yeah. When he won.
When he won the Lincoln, or when he won the Cambridgeshire Ireland Royal. But if he goes out in front and gets into a nice rhythm, he could dramatically shorten. He's a very good horse.
Just on the draw, 28 and 29 were the last 2 winners. So maybe you want to be drawn high.
And also, by the way, there hasn't been a single-digit price winner of this race since 2013. So bear that in mind too.
And there mightn't be this year because there'll be 10 to 1 the field.
Yeah, 2013 and 2007, the last win in favour.
7 places is a great offer.
7 places is a good offer. Right, let's move on to any other
bets. It'll be one of those instances
Saturday?
where like they're going past the line, and you're like,
you're getting the trifecta.
Back
right?
in the TV
show
job.
8th and 9th there, like
looking for your match bet at the back of the television.
Any other bets on Saturday? Relatively quickly.
Yeah, Yufton could be the outsider of the whole field in the 205 at Haydock, but he's down to a mark of 97. He was 115 once upon a time, and he's back from a 387 day break. He's won after a 232 day break, finished second after a 272 day break, and he's run well after a 91 day break. Change of scenery, has joined John Butler from Roger Varian. He's a class act on his day. Outside of the whole field in the 205 at Haydock. In the 315 at Haydock, Tarbouche, who's won his last 3. It's only gone up £2 for winning his last 2 starts, and he's very impressive. And in the 335 at Ripon, we spoke about Michael Bell's team being in really good form. He's got Merlin. First time out this season, Haley Turner rides. He's a proper sprinter. I think Merlin could be hard to beat in the 335.
Good stuff. Johnny, anything else for you Saturday?
No, that's it.
Cool. Let's move on to Sunday and an Aces action. Their feature event today, obviously the Beresford Stakes at 5:05. It's cracking card at Naas. We'll start with the Beresford. Shane, only tissue price.
Yeah, just the
today.
tissue price at the moment, Tom. Have Mount Everest in it around 4 to 6, 8 to 13 territory, 15 to 2 Sovereign, 15 to 2 similar prices about Japan, Python 8 to 1, 14th bar.
There's not really a massive amount on form versus the prices on Aiden's in this, are there?
Yeah, Mount Everest I think is a little bit deceptive. He like twice now he's been scrubbed along basically the whole way. He looks slow. I think he'll probably win. I think if you want to back Mount Everest, I think maybe Betfair might be the play because he started 6-4 last time when he won at the Curragh. I think he went out to 9-2 in the exchanges, despite always being in the first two. So he doesn't travel that well. I think he'll probably win. I think he's a ridiculously short price though. I thought he'd be about maybe 6-4, 13-8,
Yeah,
and he
same.
might even drift out to that. But the one who could be a huge price, who I'd forgive its rotten run last time, is Guaranteed from the Jim Bulger stable. Ran a desperate race last time. Something must have been up. Won a maiden at the Curragh before that. I think he's a better horse than he showed last time. He'll be about 16s or 20s. I think he'd run better. I think he'd be placed. So I'll put up Guaranteed each way.
Johnny, do you have a selection in the Beresford?
Well, I did the spotlight for this race, and one thing I noticed is neither Ger Lyons or Jim Bulger goes into this race in particularly good form. Certainly on the figures, no winner in the last fortnight for either, as far as I know. Although Ger has had a lot of placed horses, Jim has had a lot of horses just not running all that well. Maybe he hasn't had a great deal of fancied horses. Guaranteed's one of the last years on yielding. I liked him the 2 previous starts. He just might want nicer ground, but like.
They'll be firm in the gown description on Sunday.
Yeah, okay, this is all about prices for me. I'm not backing Mount Everest at odds on. Absolutely not. I don't think, between himself, Sovereign and Japan, I don't think there's probably an awful lot between them. Japan won very workmanlike at Listowel. It looked a poor race, but it was a nightmare of a race from the way it worked out. If he's a big price, I'd actually probably back him. Now, I'll probably tip Mount Everest in the spotlight. That might sound daft. I think he's the most likely winner. But if you're having a bet, you couldn't back him at odds on. Like you couldn't. So like Sovereign, it's hard to know what he achieved at Galway. Python is interesting as well because he's been off for 6 days. That wouldn't worry me. He looks a lovely horse, and Ger was all talking about like he needs to kind of fill out and all that. It was a dead heat, but it was probably a decent maiden.
Front 2 pull out clear.
Yeah, and it was a Leopardstown maiden. But like, I don't know. I find it hard to see. Now he will love Naas. I think if ever attracted suit Mount Everest as Naas, I couldn't have him at odds on though.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's move on to the Renaissance Stakes and Creek 3 contest. And before we start this, Gordon Lord Byron is going to be his 92nd career start and his 69th start in Stakes company. What, he's pretty much fav, is he?
Have him in here at favourite currently, Tom. 2 to 1. Foss is in there at 4 to 1. Unfortunately, 9 to 2. 11 to 2 St Patrick's Day. 7th bar in the tissue prices.
Carl Burke won this last year. Is he going to win it again this year?
Unfortunately, it's completely out of sorts. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe this is my heart ruling my head, but I think it's head and heart agreeing because Gordon O'Byron, at least he's running consistently. Like, let's call a spade a spade. This is a dreadful race. And he seems to be...
That's a bit harsh, DJ.
I think that's a bit harsh as well.
It's a Group 3, like, it's not like, there's 4 horse rated 100 plus. 4 horse.
Unfortunately, beat
Granted now,
last year. But
how many of them will run to their mark is another matter. But
yeah, I just think there's so many of them out of form, and he's the only one that has he's got a bit of go in him still, and the rest of them have so much to prove.
What age is he now?
10.
10, yeah. I just think he's a remarkable horse. It's a remarkable story, and I think this will be a remarkable result. I think he'll win.
Yeah, that close to bringing the house down stuff, wouldn't it?
If he runs his race, he'll probably win, and there are so many doubts about the rest running their race. He's probably nearly a certainty to win if he runs to 110. Now, he's been, he's obviously travelled. He's coming back from his trip last weekend. I think he was a bit disappointed. Didn't see the race, but the track will be no problem to him. Ground will be fine. Trip versatile. Really, we need more stories like this. He was a horse that had plenty of problems early in his life. So for Tom Hogan, who, like, I'd say none of us can literally name another horse he has, like, of any description.
This horse basically is the equine equivalent of Johnny Ward because he just shows up everywhere. You can't turn on your telly without seeing him.
Wow, this is it, yeah. But he's a winner though on Sunday, hopefully.
Okie doke. What about the rest of the nice card? Anything else jumping out at you there, Jenna?
Yeah, the Joe McGrath handicap is on.
I do like one in this actually, DJ.
Oh, go on.
What do you like? Hit me.
There was 2 I liked.
It's 4:35.
I kind of like 2 as well.
Okay, well, the one I think I probably will put up is Abstraction for Natalia Lupini, who I thought was coming back in the form. It's dropped down.
Natalia Lupini.
Yeah, the lovely Natalia.
She's a good trainer actually.
Yeah, and I just when I went through it, I just thought
You
it's
picked the wrong
threatening to win.
Lupini horse here, by the way.
Did I?
Blair Main is the one, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, go on.
Well, it's just abstract. Like Blair Main's form, the colour of the last day is rock solid.
Yeah.
But if you look in behind, there was Miss Power meeting traffic
Yes.
behind her stablemate.
Dropped £4 for no real good reason either.
No, I was
There was
surprised
a
at
weight
that.
drop, I think, in the meeting. But there is a winner of this race.
Just
that
thought
we haven't
Ben
mentioned
Cohen
yet.
was claiming 7. I just thought Abstraction showed more pace last time, so it'll probably be a double figure price. So I'm just going to slide.
You're going with
I'm gonna slide
Abstraction.
Another
You're going
horse
with
who
Blair
likes
Main?
an ace. I'm going with Amanat.
Oh, you go with Amina.
So James Goff, the owner, has given a few horses to Dennis Hogan. This is one of them. Has immediately hit form. Yeah, James McCauley had him. James Goff's the owner, and Amanat was behind only spoofing lastly at Navan. Missed the break a bit. Probably looks like he needs a bit of wakening up. He has blinkers on. Lovely low weight. Killian Inner taking 3 off. Possibly one of my bets the weekend.
Okay. Well, I'll be putting a Miss Power against the pair of them as well.
Miss
in that
Power
race
is a
too.
big chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge chance. Anything else on that?
And this is
Anything else on
actually a
that card?
race where the betting will be, if you study this race and look at the betting, because I think they might miss a couple of them.
Anything else on the next
I think
card?
the most interesting runner of all on Sunday is Falcon 8.
Falcon 8. Okay,
Yeah,
that's okay.
like
Stay with speed.
it's there with speed and
Where
does,
did I hear
does
that
what we
before?
expected. 2 from 2. I thought with Falcon 8,
Stepped up to 2 miles.
yeah,
by
it was
the
a
way,
mile
for
and
this
3
lockdown.
last time at Killarney, and the most remarkable thing of all is it bolted up. It traded at 5.4 in running.
That was
So
a
there
mad race in running,
Yeah, it
because
was a
Willie's
mad
horse
race.
went very short.
Light
and
Pillar
was well
looked like it
beaten.
was going to win, and then Declan just pulled out Falcon 8, and it just whoosh, like it's closely related to Free Eagle. It's a half brother to Custom Cut and
Out of Polished
Sapphire.
Gem.
Like it just could be the next Forgotten Rules. So Falcon 8, I don't know what price it's going to be. Roughly around 7 to 4. I think he's the most interesting horse runner.
I'm going to say he could be better than Forgotten Rules, actually.
I'd say he could
He
be
is the
wow,
stair
yeah.
with speed. I'm a massive
That's a
fan
big
of Twilight
shout.
Pavement. I find Jim Bulger's horses infuriatingly hard to predict, and he's everything they're not. He's always runs his race. But he is what he is, 109. Can Falcon 8 run to that sort of a mark, getting his weight for age
He's
allowance?
better than
He's
Forgotten
very
Rules,
exciting.
you know.
Yeah, no, it might take him time, but he's a very exciting horse, and it'd be great for the year. You know, it's been a difficult year for the yard in many ways, and it'd be great if Dermot could go to the winter with a promising stair to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the Gold Cup picture is quite open next year as well, I think.
It is. Right, let's move on to our best bets of the weekend. Of course, Labrador's going best odds guaranteed in shops from 12 till 2 every day. So, Shane, we'll start with you. Best bet of the weekend, to give us a multiple as well.
Best bet on the weekend, Tom, is going to come in the Cheveley Park on Saturday. The filly's going to put up Signora Cabela, currently 9 to 2. Going to put it into a treble along with, I think, 10 Sovereigns is the banker in the middle park. And finally, in the Cambridgeshire, where we're going 7 places from Saturday morning, and all Ladbroke shops, a fac at a bit of a price, 25 to 1.
Good stuff. Right, Jenna, best bet of the weekend.
Nap is Kadar in the 150 at Newmarket. Second best is So Perfect in the 225 at Newmarket. And I'm also, because I've been waiting 6 months for it, Sharjah Bridge in the 340 at Newmarket, Cambridgeshire.
Good stuff. Johnny,
It's
what
a
about
long
you?
wait.
Best bets of the
Amanat
weekend.
is the best bet in the
Amanat.
435 at the Curragh. My next best is Bohemians
Nace.
to be
Go on.
Nace rather.
Don't start.
Bohemians
Here
to be
we go.
Cork City in the
Here
FA
we go.
Cup
Here we
final
go.
on Sunday.
What price is that?
They're 7 to 4 twos, I think. They're not even favourites, actually. A great
Okey
bet
doke.
against a team totally out of sorts. And my third selection then, why not be very optimistic here and go for 14 to 1, 16 to 1 winner of the Cambridgeshire, who's the horse whose name is UAE Prince.
UAE Prince.
You went through it, man.
Yeah,
14 to
20
1.
pages to get there.
UAE
If we can
Prince.
get that treble up now, that'll be exciting.
Oh, we'll be very sorry. My
Johnny,
best bet
if
of the
you get that
weekend.
treble up now, I'll tell you something. I'll buy you pints for the rest of your life, like I did
What
with
happened
Paul
the last
Gailey.
time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to report back next Friday. I'm very excited about this weekend, punting wise. I think it could be big. It's going to be very good or atrocious.
Yeah, okay, then. Look forward to that. Right, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. My best bet of the weekend, by the way, is Miss Power, and we'll be back again next week with more What's the Word.